Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Divine Mind podcast. Obviously, my name is Liam Hydrisney Keneally. Today, I have someone for you. He's an inventainer on Twitch. He's got the largest amount of effects and sound effects, and boy, does he know how to use them. He's the Bob Ross of Halo. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you KMaddify. Or Kelly, how's it going, man?
What's up, Liam? Thank you so much for having me, man. I'm super stoked to do this.
Yeah, same. I've been a fan of yours for ages. I think your stream is like super creative, and in a world where like streaming and content created is so saturated, you're kind of bringing this really awesome style, I guess, that a lot of people kind of don't hit on. So really excited to kind of chat to you, figure out how we got there and everything like that. But you know, we just had the last Infinite Flight, so I thought maybe we can quickly start with that. What were your thoughts on the Infinite Flight over the weekend?
Oh boy. The Infinite Flight. Oh man, that was I mean, to be honest, I think the game has a lot of potential to be really, really fun. I can see myself having a lot of fun. The great thing, here's my base opinion about the game. There's so much room for creativity in general. And just as somebody who comes from like a creative background, like an artistic background, I feel like it's a game that can really complement like how certain people go about creating content with the equipment usage. Like, and this is coming from like an elitist Halo 2 like classic kid, you know, like I've been playing Halo 2, Halo 1, been playing it all since the very beginning. I love simplified Halo. You know, simplified Halo has always been, you know, satisfying and a beautiful thing for me. But going into this game as a content creator, I just feel like I'm more open-minded about it. And I just feel like the ceiling for what you can do with the game is very vast, and it's going to make for some really unique stuff. That being said, when I was playing the flight, I think for the most part, I was having fun. I had a tough time like getting my settings tweaked to the point where, you know, I wasn't having any frame issues. But when I noticed that, you know, I was getting good frames, when I noticed that the game was running smooth, I felt like that's when I was having my most fun. Yeah. And yeah, when it was like choppy and stuff like that, especially with like some of the zooming mechanics, it was a struggle at first. But you know, that's why it's in flight. I'm just trying to test it out before it gets released. So yeah.
No, I completely agree with you. I think I tried to play a few games with my brother, and he was playing on like an original Xbox One, right?
Oh my God, I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people were as well. But, you know, knowing that they've said that the better that your settings are and your graphics are, the better the aiming quality is going to feel. That automatically made me a little bit like, oh, I don't think he's going to have the best experience, especially with this flight when it's not all like finely tuned. And he's a good Halo player. Like he would average like a 2.5, 3 KD in any Halo game. And he just couldn't go positive. He couldn't aim. You know, he was finding it really frustrating to play. And then I'm playing on an Xbox Series, the new one, the Series X, and it was really good for me, but I couldn't play on 120 on like my monitor can do 120, but if I had it on that, the monitor and the game wouldn't cooperate, and it'd keep just blacking out the screen every like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. So I tried to fix that as much as I couldn't do it, but you know, I understand there was a few things there around like the settings that was already like a bit difficult. And unless you were someone who was like really like wanting to fix the settings and get it right, I'm sure that could have been an area where a lot of people are just like, I don't even want to play. Like, I'm just going to step back from it.
Yeah. It seemed like, see, I have a 144 refresh rate like on my monitor, and I had to play at like 70 because, well, I just think the game as a whole, like it was really hard to stream, even for a lot of people who had really good setups. My PC is a little bit older, but I heard like even people with 30 series graphics cards and, you know, the latest Ryzen godlike tech that all these kids got, and you know, even they were still struggling to get like appropriate frames even when they weren't streaming the game. And it just seemed like it was super CPU intensive. So I'm hoping that it gets optimized a little bit better come launch. More than likely, I'll probably have to do a rig upgrade or get an Xbox Series X. But I mean, overall, my general experience, I really enjoyed it. BTB with my community was amazing. The weapons, I think it kind of had to do with a little bit of the connection as well. particularly with the sidekick. It might just be like the Halo 5 like kind of mindset, but I really thought that was a great utility weapon. A lot of people think I don't like Halo 5, but I thought that the Magnum in Halo 5 was probably one of the best utility weapons in the entire franchise. What I mean by utility is, your main weapon that gets you gets you everything else, like your battle rifle, your 3-shot pistol from Halo 1. And, I just really thought that the Halo 5 Magnum was good. So like going into Infinite, I like really want more out of the sidekick, and it seems like it's just not going to be that gun.
Yeah.
Long range fights are almost, it's such a tough battle, especially going up against like such strong ADS weapons like the BR and even the Commando a little bit, even though the Commando can get a little crazy. But I really hope for more from that gun. A few weapon balances here and there, just overall UI stuff.
Yeah,
I think we have the potential to have one of the best games, ever made. I'm hopeful for it. I'm so much more hopeful for it than I was Halo 5, because I wasn't a streamer at the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a content creator and like someone who wants to like push the game forward, like I felt like mentally I just had to be a little bit more optimistic about the game and just hope, that 343 was gonna, get the job done,
Yeah.
But it's fun, man. I had a blast. I did not like have really any issues where I was like, I don't see myself playing this game.
Yeah.
No, it was a good time.
I think that optimism is like such an important thing that the whole community's gotten out of playing Halo Infinite so far, which we definitely didn't have coming into Halo 5, and we haven't had an opportunity for it since then. So it's been like 6 years of having this, optimistic mind.
That is the craziest thing, dude. Like there are kids that couldn't even drive, and now they can drink heading into Infinite. So
isn't that crazy?
I don't even get it. There are kids that watch my stream that I follow on Twitter. They were like 15 when Halo 5 came out. Now it's insane.
Dude, it is. And you know what? It's the type of thing that hopefully the people like yourself, and there's a bunch of streamers that have been creating content for a long time, this is like their opportunity to really kind of, have a game that can put them at the forefront of streaming, of content creation, and that type of thing. And so I'm really excited to see how that goes. But you mentioned when we started that you come from a bit of a creative background.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that more so like technologically based, or like are you a musician? Do you paint?
I'd say it's more so artistic. Growing up, I always like, tech. I was a big computer. I didn't get my first computer until I moved here with my grandparents, and they had like this old like Gateway computer, and I was like, 11, 12 years old. But video games has always been something that it was my like technological gateway, if you will.
Yeah.
I wasn't like I said, I wasn't the biggest computer guy. It was mostly just console games. But technology and art has always been something that's really important to me. In high school, I was working on trying to become an engineer, like going to college to try and become an engineer. And then halfway through my college career, I realized like I didn't want to be an engineer anymore. Too much math.
Yeah.
And so like I went back to my artistic style. I tried to I got into 3-dimensional art, obviously 2D. I can draw, I can paint here and there. I haven't done it in a while. I really miss it, but sometimes it's tough to find inspiration for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I've always had kind of this the creative side of my brain definitely operates a little bit more than the theory and logical side of things. And so going into streaming, I knew I wanted to do things a little bit different. I didn't know it was going to get to this level, but I'm kind of happy that it did. And I'll go into that here in a second. But when I first started streaming, like I was already big into, I knew with OBS, streaming platforms, you could do hotkeys.
Yeah.
So it was as simple as switching camera. It was as simple as switching my camera zooms. It was as simple as switching to like a little dance party scene, which some of these scenes in my OBS I still have to this day, 4+ years later. But it wasn't until like maybe a couple years ago that I just felt like I wanted to do a little bit more. It in a way is it allows me to keep learning. So with school, like, you know, you have a certain curriculum that, you know, that you follow. I feel like this is me enthusiastically wanting to teach myself this new stuff, like on how to produce and how to make effects, how to change my voice, how to have demonic godlike presence, you know what I'm saying? But like you gotta want to do it. You know, you really have to like go out there and just look for the resources and stuff like that. A lot of it is accessible. You know, some people might feel that they can be, you know, a little too overwhelmed to start exploring like their production value and their creative side when it comes to streaming. For me, it was just something that I just fully embraced because I'm teaching myself new things. You know, I'm not in school anymore, but I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And once you figure out these new, you know, effects, or you make something cool and stream likes it, the community likes it, like it's really satisfying.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
So
And I think it's
the
I think
art
like
for sure.
yeah, dude, I love that. I come from a creative background myself. I was a little bit more into like the street art, so I loved spray painting and graffiti and
Nice.
all that type
That's
of thing.
awesome.
Yeah, but you know, like you said, it's really hard to find inspiration. But I find even more as you kind of grow up, it's hard to find the right amount of time to, you know, for me, I hate the
Oh, for
idea
sure.
of, yeah, I hate the idea of like starting something half-assed. If I want to like actually do, if I want to paint something or if I want to do it,
Yeah.
I want to go all out on it. And if I know that I don't have enough time to sit down and really just like get a big chunk of it done and then come back to it, and I'm so much less enthusiastic to do it, you know. So totally get it. But I've been finding that just recently I've been trying to stay really regular on updating to, we've got a few YouTube channels for Divine Mind. So I've been just even looking and experimenting with getting some different green screen effects, you know, like editing packs, putting sound effects with the green screen stuff. And it is a really cool creative outlet, you know.
Absolutely.
And so I totally feel you on that. And I also think that it's something that, like, watching your stream, by the way, for anyone that's watching the podcast, listening to the podcast, if you haven't checked out Modify, you have to do it. Down in the description, going to be all the links to his channel. I absolutely promise you, like, it's not often that I give you an 100% guarantee you're going to enjoy it, but today I'm giving you a 100% guarantee. If you go and check him out on Twitch, it's going to be something that you've never seen before, and you're going to absolutely love it. And he's good at Halo, so definitely
thank
go
you.
check him out. But
Appreciate
yeah,
it.
for sure, man. Like, it's something that, you know, I hope that more people from watching someone like you get inspired to think, how can I do it differently? You know, how can I stream differently?
Absolutely.
How can I be creative?
And in a way, that's already kind of happened a little bit. I get a few messages here and there, you know, not very many, but more often than not, with how it used to be. People just were interested in wanting to, you know, upscale their production value. And there's people, you know, there's people that I game with and people that I watch now that I know have really like put in the effort towards their production, and it looks amazing. They're doing stuff that even I, like, you know, that I couldn't even think of.
Yeah.
There's so many talented here. The thing about content creation at Halo in general, there's so many amazing creators, and they're all talented in their own ways. And, you know, sometimes you don't even need like a fancy production value to be, you know, entertaining. They just naturally entertain.
Yeah.
Just naturally entertain. And there's so many people that are just going to do so well once Halo Infinite drops, and I can't wait to see them just like blow up.
Yeah.
But like they have the interest. Some of them have the interest in wanting to take that next step, level up, you know, do a little bit of self-reflection and think about what they can do different. And thinking about what you can do different is sometimes scary, you know, because people get complacent. They want to stick with what works, myself included. Like once I get satisfied with certain effects that I've been using for a while, I'm like, okay, I got a good thing now. And then it might be a little scary at first to, you know, think of like a brand new idea and be like, oh, you know, let me try this, you know, because it might mess up something else that I already had well done. But no, yeah, like production value, especially nowadays with Twitch and, you know, YouTube, wherever you stream, whatever platform you stream on, there's just so many of us now.
Yeah.
And I think I was lucky enough to kind of have this mindset that you don't have to try to stand out, but it helps. It helps. It certainly helps. I don't want to take away from being myself. I'll always say just be yourself, but I feel like I wouldn't be myself if I wasn't doing streaming how I do it.
Yeah.
Maybe I would be more successful if I just focused on the gameplay. Who knows? But
not long
I just feel like
term.
it's not me. It's a way for me to express myself.
Yeah.
And with streaming, like streaming's always it should be a place where you can go and just be yourself, you know, kick back, just it's your place, it's your sanctuary, you know, that you can do
100%.
whatever you want. And I just feel like me doing what I do is my sanctuary for me.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of people want to start experimenting with that side of things, and I think that's great. I think it's awesome, and I really hope the best for him, and I'd be more than willing to help in any way I can.
Dude, to add to that, I think that, you know, if people are thinking about streaming as something that they want to do long term for a career, right, especially our generations and younger generations, we're coming from something where we want like instant, you know, like I've been streaming for 2 days and I've only got 2 views. What's going on? You know, like I think that what people don't realize is when you're thinking about something you want to do long term, like you said, this is like a sanctuary for you, and you being who you are, and just being able to relax and be yourself. That's really important for long term, right? Because if you put on a facade or an act, and then you got 5 years down the track and you built a great audience, but you hated it every day because you were trying so hard to keep up this thing that wasn't you, right? It's going to be really impossible for you to maintain that for another 5 years, for another 10 years. So what you're doing by creating this community of people around you that are like-minded and enjoy you for your content and who you are, you know, is really important, because then 5 years from now, you're like, fuck, I'm surrounded by these brilliant people that I love and that love what I'm doing. And I can't wait to keep doing this for longer, you know?
I absolutely, I agree with that. And touching on what you said with the whole facade thing and character thing, there are people, you know, there are people that when they do stream and when they create content, you know, they are a character. They are a character. You know, you have your Dr. Disrespects, and you have, you know, people who put on this persona, you know, little you know, to bring it into Halo perspective, you know, we have a real life Spartan, the 7-foot phenom, and you know, what's so great about that is the immersion. Is the immersion. The if you can just, you know, close your eyes and just go on, you know, make you think you're in the UNSC command center with him, you know, you're in for a jam-packed Halo experience. Like, it's all about that immersion, and you know, that making you feel like you're part of this story, making you feel like you're part of this, you know, this bigger thing that it already is. Yeah, it's a stream.
Yeah.
But it's a show. It's an art form at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Now, for me personally, I knew I didn't want to do like a character thing. I knew like I wanted to be myself, but myself was already, you know, artistic and experimental, and you know, wanting to broaden horizons, and you know, wanting to just be different, because I feel like as a person, I've always kind of been different. I stood out amongst the normal crowd. Not in like a high standard kind of thing. You know, I was just a weird kid. You know, I was just a weird, quirky kid. And I feel like that's just really...
be a weird, quirky anything.
Exactly. I just feel like I had been so done with just the norm, if you will. And you know, as you get older, you care less about what people think. I get it all the time. You know, there are people that are like, yeah, what you do is cringy. You know, I've gotten it all. It's like, you're so extra cringe, and you know, it can hit from time to time, and you know, it's the internet.
Yeah.
But I just wouldn't be myself if I wasn't doing that, or you know, trying to better, because it's more so, you know, it's for me, it's for my audience that actually enjoys it. And you know, I think about those things. I think about the benefits that it's providing for the people that are directly involved, that actually want it to progress.
Yeah.
You know, so
well, I think
helps out a lot too.
I got 2 things to quickly add to what you were saying there, which is one, you know, the people that have got like a character that they're playing, I would say that is like an element of themselves. So it's a really good time for them to express themselves. You know, like it's not so much. I think what I was trying to say with the facade side of things is you've got people that are like pretending to be someone that they aren't, not in a creative way, but someone who's like, you know, I'm the best player in the world, and you know, like I look at all this stuff that I'm doing, and it's just not who they are. They'd much rather be the person that can just chill out and, you know, and do something creative, you know, whereas when you watch someone like Real Life Spartan, he fits that, like that is his, you know, that's who he is, you know.
Absolutely. You can definitely tell how passionate he is about Halo. Like You can definitely tell it's his favorite game. It's his favorite franchise. I just think overall he's just an amazing guy. You know.
Yeah.
You have a personality that complements the character.
Yep.
You know, Spartans are tough and ruthless and you know battle hardened. You know, but he's just such a laid back. He's just such a laid back. You know, just really mellowed out dude, and you know he's all welcoming and stuff like that. And that's the real person. You know, that's the man behind the armor.
Yeah.
At the same time, you know, he's just having a blast. You know, being himself and being who he is, because it's what he's happy with, you know, and that's awesome. And that's like my mindset with my effects, and that's my mindset with my, you know, how I include people. I include people with my excessively long alerts and blaring music and songs and stuff like that, you know, because people like it.
When I followed and subbed for the first time, I wanted to follow and sub again. Just to see the alert.
I get that sometimes. Unfortunately, you have to like unfollow for like a month and then refollow.
No, I'll just
it should play the alert. It should play the alert again, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be more than happy to hit the buttons again for sure.
Well, so what I'm curious about is, do you have like some favorite effects that you can, I don't know if you can do them at the moment because we're in Skype call, but do you have some ones that like maybe you don't use all the time, but like they're your favorite kind of things that you've got?
My favorite effects. Well, since we're only on camera right now and I'm not in OBS, it's mainly just my camera effects. So I mean, I've been doing a lot of experimenting with Halloween stuff lately. I don't know if you guys saw it earlier, but I can turn my voice into something a little bit darker and get a little dramatic. And I'm really messing with this zombie effect right here.
Yeah, you have.
These are all camera filters, and it does a little fade in, fade out.
Yeah. And
then if I hit another button, it just completely goes black, and you can see nothing but my eyes. Yeah. And I have that synced up to a video, like some audio from a video game, so it'll do like a little jump scare, and then I pop up because it starts off just like this.
Yeah.
So you won't actually see what my face is. I go straight from this.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can do it fast. Kind of like you get the idea. It was like boom boom. Wait, hold on. Boom boom. Like that. Like close enough, but it does it a lot faster when I macro it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been experimenting with a lot of Halloween stuff since it's October. I'd say, I mean, personal favorites from my community. I mean, oh man, where do I even begin? I mean, I've been lately, you guys might have seen on Twitter, that I can talk into the Cookie Monster.
Yeah, I saw
put on a little bit of an echo.
I've seen
there's that. I can turn into an egg. I can turn into an egg.
What's that?
I can turn into an egg when I'm cracked. Turn into a peanut when I'm nuts. And I can put myself on this graph.
Look at this photograph. Oh my goodness, man.
There's a lot of stuff. Some of it gets a little crazy. That's why I do have these flash warnings and everything. But I just I have a lot of stuff. I'm running out of keyboard room, but it's really fun. It's really fun stuff. But yeah, I can do just camera effects, voices, a little bit of auto tune, like, you know, I have it all directly going through softwares that just all go through OBS, really. So
yeah,
it can be a little complicated sometimes, but you know, for the most part, it's pretty ease of use. Like if I can do it, there's a whole lot of other people out there that can do it and just make it their own thing.
You just taught yourself how to do it all, like just jumped on Google or something and just went through and
no, yeah, well, not necessarily. I Google a lot. For anybody out there that's looking to try and get into like extending their production value a little bit, there's a lot of YouTube tutorials out there. If you Google or you go into YouTube and just type, you know, OBS like effects tutorial or something like that, more than likely you're going to find, you know, 5 or 6 different things that you probably didn't know existed. there's a lot of dedicated creators out there on YouTube, TikTok, what have you, that really showcase what you can do with OBS Studio. Not so much Streamlabs OBS. I will say that I do get questions now. It's like, Kelly, should I switch from a technological standpoint? And this for anybody who streams. Streamlabs OBS is kind of restricted in terms of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because OBS Studio has what are called filters, and more importantly, plugins. Anybody with an audio background knows what a VST plugin is, where you can mess with your microphone audio, you know, pitch, gain, bass, treble, what have you. OBS Studio allows you to do that. Streamlabs OBS, not so much, but there are some stuff you can do with that program. But if you use OBS Studio, there's so many tutorials out there. There's so many pieces of software out there that you can use. This is called SnapCam. It's a filter software where essentially you're taking your snap. It's like if you were using Snapchat on just you know, on a webcam. Yeah. There's stuff like there's just like, it's called plugins, just OBS plugins in general. There's just so much. There's such a broad selection of things that you can do, and you know, you incorporate some really cool stuff, plus, you know, filters. You know, you can make some really trippy things, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I love that yours are tied into something specific as well. Like when you're cracked, you've got the egg. When you're nuts, like those things are just so creative, and it ties in really nicely to like one that's like the thing that the community kind of talks about, being cracked, you know, and you put a funny element to it as well.
There are some things in particular that definitely I can attribute back to the foundation of Halo, you know, or just video gaming in general, being a crack gamer. Even before I was getting more into effects, I did like impromptu. These were not planned, but I would just do impromptu little skits. And this, like with the whole Bob Ross of Halo thing, like someone in my chat, I was raging at Halo, and someone was like, you know, Kelly, you need to calm down. I'm like, you know what, you're right. So I put on some Zen music, just realigned my chakras, if you will. And then I put on the cloud face. And then the next thing you know, I'm whispering into my microphone for the next 30 minutes playing Halo 2. And, you know, people were laughing, and like, you know, we were having a good time, and they were like, oh my God, this is great. And I'm like, you know what, let me put that on Twitter. What could go wrong? I was in the process of finally putting stuff on Twitter at the time. And yeah, like people saw it and they were like, this is insane. Like, what is this? I'm just like, dude, it's just me, you know, just me being me. So even before I was getting super excessive into color effects and voices and stuff like that, it was just me being a goofball on stream, you know, just doing little impromptu skits. Nothing's really ever planned for me. I'm a very day by day in the moment kind of person.
I think that's the best way for it to be. The other thing I was going to ask you, because I saw a video just recently of it, you've got a bunch of props that you use as well.
I do.
Yeah. Have you got like a favorite one that you like using the most?
Oh man. Well, let's see. I mean, I've had a couple videos on Twitter where I've messed up hitting my shots, and I'll bring out my can of air.
I love it. Yeah.
Bring out my can of air. Go on a full experimental maintenance route, like fixing my controller, fixing my keyboard. And people are like, did this boy just straight up take a can of air to his keyboard? Like that sort of thing, you know, just again, like reiterating on the extra thing. It's more so like, it's an extra, it's being extra, but at the same time, like I enjoy it. I do it for like comedic purposes, you know, just to kind of get a rise out of people, just to get them laughing, you know what I mean? Like, and at the same time, you know, it's something like in the back of my mind, like I would totally do that. I would totally do that in front of a crowd where I'm just like looking at my equipment, grabbing a can of air, grabbing a paper towel, cloth, grabbing a flashlight, and just like looking at my equipment, trying to come up with an excuse as to why I just absolutely shit the bed trying to kill somebody in Halo.
Yeah.
But another one, I've been I started making alerts where my stream can call me. So if they use channel points or if they cheer like bits or something like that. So I dug up an old house phone from my grandparents' living room. They were like, "What are you doing with that phone?" like why are you taking our phone? Like you wouldn't understand. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah, that's
like,
hilarious.
"Hey, Grandpa, are you using your house phone that you've had for like 30 years?" He's like, "Why?" It's like, "Don't worry about it."
Yeah, you're not gonna understand, but I'm taking it. Thanks.
Yeah, so that's a bit newer. Yeah, even before I started getting into like effects and visual stuff, yeah, it was just props and just kind of using my environment around me, if you will, which my environment is very small. I actually recently did, I think it was a couple streams ago, I went through everything with my community. They wanted to see like a little bit of a tour, and I can't even, behind me is probably like this much room.
Yeah,
I think I have maybe like two square feet of room to work with, but yeah, we make it happen. You know, we make it happen. I try to utilize what I can. Hopefully, you know, I'll be able to broaden and expand to a much bigger workspace. But for now, we're chilling. We're making it work.
Yeah, definitely. So. One of the things that I wanted to ask you as well is like, you strike me as someone who's like kind of always been a gamer, right? Someone who's played a lot. Did you grow up playing games as like from?
Oh boy,
as a kid.
I love telling my video game upbringing.
Let's hear it.
So, yes, I've been pretty much a video gamer since I can remember. My first experience with video games, I knew a video game existed. The first time I ever saw a video game, I think it was a big pocket Game Boy, and I think it had Super Mario Brothers on it or something like that. I don't remember how old I was at the time, but it was my cousin's.
You're talking about the gray one?
The big gray one.
Yeah,
yes, the big gray one. He wouldn't let me play it, so like I would kind of like watch over the shoulder. You know, I hit like one button, like he let me like jump once, and I did that, and I thought that was really cool. But like I didn't think of anything of it at the time. And I remember my mom at the time decided she wanted to take a road trip to see a friend. This friend lived in North Carolina, on the East Coast of the United States. And I just remember we go to we're making the drive, show up, small house. I walk through the front door and I look to my right, and there's this big TV. It's got like an audio, it's got like a little bit of an audio setup, an old school, like kind of stereo, little boom, booming on both sides kind of thing. Glass case with video games and movies. And I see Tekken, the fighting game, the first ever one. I see these two dudes on the couch, and they're holding. See if I can get it real quick. I can get up from camera, can I?
Yeah, man. Do what we want.
Yep. I'm gonna grab my and then I see them holding one of these.
Yeah.
I see them holding one of these. So I immediately was just like, I need that. So I talk about it way too much on stream, but people, once people start talking about video games, I start talking about like the history of me with gaming. I'm a big PlayStation guy.
Yeah.
I'm a massive PlayStation guy. When I saw them playing that game, I was just like, that's it. I need to have this. Yeah. It was the first Tekken, Tomb Raider, and then on Christmas of 1997, I was 5 years old. My grandma came to my house, and I had this big box, and I opened it up, and there was PlayStation.
Wow.
I had Tekken, first ever Tomb Raider, and I remember playing through the first Tomb Raider, and like I was so scared to like go through one section. I had to have like my cousin like do it for me, because I was like, oh, I can't go this far. Like that's a secret area. When in reality, I was just super scared to move on. And so he would move on, and I'm like, oh my God, there's more to this game, So Tekken, Tomb Raider, even though I'm not really a big fighting game player, but that was the game. That was the game that I saw that I'm just like, I need this. Yeah. I need this. So Tekken, Tomb Raider. My uncle actually introduced me to a game called The Spear of Destiny, which is the predecessor to a game people might know as Wolfenstein. And then eventually he introduced me to Doom.
Wow.
And that was my taste of PC gaming on his old IBM. You had to like put in like a code into your command prompt to like load up the game. And yeah, so I played Doom, but it was always my PlayStation, you know, because I didn't have access to that computer at the time, but I had my PlayStation. And I remember going to Toys R Us with my mom, like, and every time, you know, I was good, like it was just racks on racks of PlayStation games. And I was just like, you know, I get to pick that one. Didn't matter what it was, but as long as I had it, you know?
Yeah.
So, and that was it. I fell in love with gaming in general. I love my PlayStation. I was such a big Sony kid. All my friends and cousins, they were Nintendo kids. I was the first person out of my group, like, to be a Sony kid. And everybody wanted to get a PlayStation after they saw that I had a PlayStation. They were like, oh, some of these games are really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm watching them play Super Nintendo. I'm like, well, some of the games you're playing are really cool. I remember so badly I wanted an N64.
Yeah.
Because Donkey Kong 64 was one of my favorite games of all time. Like, I would see my cousin play it. I'm just like, I want it. I had like a magazine with an N64 in it. And I'm just like, I want that.
Yeah, I get it. My cousin gave us an N64 for Christmas one year, and that was like our first console in the house. Actually, no, it was a Super Nintendo, and it had like some Mario Kart and Super Mario 3 or something, or some, I can't remember what it was, but
the one with the cape.
Like, what's that? With the cape? With the
yeah.
Amazing, right? And but saying PlayStation wise, as soon as I went to like high school, everybody in high school had a PlayStation, right? That was like the thing. And I've always been like Pokemon and Mario and Nintendo based stuff, and Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong 64 and all that type of stuff. And went to high school, and I remember everyone's talking about PlayStation, and they're talking about these games on PlayStation, Final Fantasy, even like Call of Duty, a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Like, oh, man, all the cool kids are playing PlayStation. I'm over here playing Nintendo 64 like a primary school kid, you know?
No, man, you had it too. You had it too, because people who played PlayStation, I felt like I wanted an N64, you know?
Yeah.
Like, dude, there's so many cool games, man. You get to play Donkey Kong, man. You get to play Zelda, like you get to play Majora's Mask, you know?
And Pokemon Stadium was really
Pokemon
cool.
Stadium, dude. And Pokemon Snap. Oh god.
And Mario 64, man, to this day is still probably one of my favorite games of all time. And jumping picture frames, and then it was such an immersive world for that game. Like, that was just so incredible, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how do you go from being like so passionately PlayStation to playing Halo, which is primarily, you know, Microsoft Xbox kind of game?
So I got introduced to Halo. I actually was very lucky. I got introduced to Halo relatively early. I was still in elementary school. This was 2001. I had a buddy of mine who he was very well off. I remember we used to walk to his house all the time. His family was very well off. He had an in-home theater.
Wow.
And I remember it vividly. Like, it was like a big screen, and there was a little popcorn machine like in the side of the room. I was just like, dude, it's insane. And and he had an original Xbox, and there was a couple games, and then he showed me Halo. And he was on the map. He was on Two Betrayals, which is a campaign mission. And I just remember like going out and seeing that snowy environment. And then I jumped off of the top, and then I fell and died. And that was it. There's the little crack in the snow where like the control center is like embedded into the snow. I fell into that too, and I couldn't get out. And the screen was like so dark because the lighting like in the room was just so bad. I was just like, but that was it. That was it. It was like turning on a light. I thought to myself, I had been playing all these games like on PlayStation and stuff like that, but like that moment was like gaming, and couldn't be better than this. Because I mean, I wasn't really much of a shooter player at the time. I was just playing single player games and story games, and you know, some fighters here and there. And you know, really the only taste of shooter I had was playing like Perfect Dark, playing GoldenEye, you know, and Doom.
Another fantastic game.
I did a little bit of Duke Nukem here and there, but like, you know, that wasn't so much for the shooting. It was more so, you know, for the story. Yeah. You know, and the really hot girls that they had, you know, posted up in it. So, but Halo, it all happens so fast, really, because fast forward after that, I see another group of friends playing it, and we start playing multiplayer. This is still within the same year. We're playing. We played so much Sidewinder. Sidewinder is one of my favorite Halo 1 maps solely off of the fact that I just never stopped playing Sidewinder when the game first came out.
Yeah.
I would invite my friends over. We'd quad screen, Sidewinder, FFAs. If we got bored of killing each other, we'd go to the middle of the map with Warthogs and Scorpion tanks, and we'd just like try and run over each other. Like I would sit at the top of the base on Sidewinder with a shotgun while the other guy I'm fighting is across the map. I'm not going to do anything with the shotgun, but I love the shotgun in Halo 1. I thought it was one of the coolest guns ever. When you shoot in the flood, it was almost like zombie apocalypse-esque, just and I would have the sniper rifle too. And like, I remember my friends used to get so pissed about just me sitting top base with the sniper rifle in Halo 1. But like that was it. We loved it from a casual experience.
Yeah.
And then we didn't get into competitive. I watched G4 at the time. I watched a lot of Tech TV. It used to be, it was Tech TV. Eventually it became G4, or I think it might have been in between. Like my memory's kind of jaded a little bit, but they hosted that Halo National Championship. They put that on, and this was before YouTube. So I somehow managed to catch that. It was on a show called Arena, I think. And like they were doing this background story about all these players from around the country that were winning in their regional sections, and then they eventually make it to, that national stage. Where if you go on YouTube now, you can watch that where they're playing like Blood Gulch, 3-shot kill. Like I don't think they had shields or anything, and that introduced me to people like Darkman and Strange Purple and B Van C, and like people that were the top of their game with Halo. And I'm like, whoa, you can like play this for like Xbox games. You can play this for like a sound system. You can like win stuff from doing this.
Yeah, I know.
And so like me and my friends just immediately just wanted to try and like do this sort of thing. And unfortunately, I never got to compete in Halo 1. I knew I would find out about tournaments. I would use my school computers. To try and like look up like MLG tournament. And like I'm 9-10 years old when this is all happening.
Yeah.
Like like I don't know what I'm doing. Like I remember I wanted to rent out my town's community center to try and host a tournament, like get a bunch of, because all my friends wanted to play Halo. Yeah. Like Halo was the thing. And so like, you being like a 9-year-old kid, 10-year-old kid, it was very hard to like network and like, get out there. So, but yeah, like I knew like I wanted to try and do this, and I had a couple local friends who had really cool parents. Yeah. Really cool parents. And after about a year of knowing what competitive Halo was, knowing, that Halo 1 was competitive, and then Halo 2 came out, and I got Halo 2. Let me see, Halo 2 Christmas of 2004. When did the game come out? November? Yeah. And then, we were playing split screening, Xbox Live. And I remember like I wanted to try and like go to one of these tournaments just with a bunch of homies. We had been playing, we had been trying to experiment with like competitive settings, which at the time was still very like up in the air. Yeah. Competitive settings with Halo 1 were already very well established, but when the game first came out, organizations like MLG and like WSVG and like WC, like they were kind of like experimenting with the settings and what have you. Yeah. But I knew me and my homies just wanted to go and like play in one of these tournaments, and we did, and it was amazing. So shout out to their parents for driving us up and down the East Coast, because my grandparents still don't know that I did that to this day.
Oh, really?
So sorry, Grandma.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I went on a well, I had friends who lived in this north in the state in Northern Virginia, and so I would, because I moved away from them, I would go and like routinely like go and visit them, and they were my close Halo homies. Yeah. And yeah, they had parents that were just like, you want to go to these things, and we were like, yeah. Oh yeah. And we didn't know what we were doing, but yeah, we went, and it was fun. Locals, just little like GameStop, like little Starland tournaments, and then eventually MLG tournaments. Yeah. Which were pretty simple at the time. Like it wasn't the production that people know today. It was very simple, very dimly lit hotel ballrooms and projector screens where you could barely see the game, but that was it. Like being surrounded by so many people that just loved this game. That was it. I knew this was something I was passionate about, that I wanted to get better at, because I was super young and open-minded. Like I wanted to get better. Like I studied the game and talked with my friends about the game. And I don't really have that dedication nowadays with content creation, but like I could just vividly remember just how much time I wanted to put into Halo 2 as a kid, how much I wanted to be an ogre, how much I wanted to be Walshy, you know, that sort of thing. Like it was just all one big inspiration just to keep pushing it forward.
So okay, because that's an incredible like upbringing and kind of way that you can see where all the passion comes from. Where does the content creation come into it? Did you start with streaming? Did you start with having a YouTube channel? Did you start with MySpace?
MySpace. I found out about streaming in 2010, I think. I want to say. There was very few, like a lot of people know there was very few people that really did that sort of thing. The early like Justin TV streamers. I remember this was like late Halo 3. You know, you had the Sudeth twins like streaming, like Ninja I think was like at the time streaming. People like Absolutely. I remember there was a guy named Bike Lock who, when Reach came out, he played like a lot of snipes, and I remember like watching him too, watching him like rage and what have you. But yeah, that was my first taste of like watching people play just in a chill environment. And it wasn't until like I saw and started like avidly watching like Ninja and Strongside, because they were like two of the streamers like in 2011 that, you know, I knew they were pro players. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. I get to watch them like just play matchmaking, you know, I get to watch them just play matchmaking and watch them, you know, just go from game to game to game and, you know, kind of figure out how they go about playing and what have you. Because prior to that, you know, you had things like the LAN network, MLGpro.com had like tournament VODs. You could literally break down every single match, like winners bracket round. It was like winners bracket round 2, Elamite Warriors POV, you know, CTF Warlock, you know, and you watch him play, you know, you watch how he moves around the map with his team, with T-Squared, with Neighbor. And, you know, I would like study that sort of thing. But with streaming, it was like a live interaction experience. And I thought that was so cool that you can see a player just turn the stream on, play games, and that was it. As simple as it was, I was like, this is really cool. But I didn't start streaming until probably like 6 years later. 5-6 years later. So I ran into streamers like Tim the Tapman back in like 2013. CDN the Third, who is still one of my favorite streamers to this day. And it was the personality connection between them and their viewers while they were enjoying the games that they were playing. It was the energy, and it was the passion for an audience and the humor. They were both very funny. And I love that when it comes to content creators. I love content creators that can make me laugh. I'll take a content creator that can make me laugh over someone who's amazing at the game, like any day of the week. And like, that was it. I knew that I liked video games. I really like people, you know, I consider myself kind of a people person, you know, where I'm more than willing to talk to anybody, you know, open up to anybody and just have conversations with anybody. And so, yeah, I eventually got around to streaming. I actually didn't have a capture card at the time, so I couldn't play Halo. But I had a budget PC. I was playing Counter-Strike Global Offensive at the time, just running through gun game. I would do like little Slayer like death matches. I rarely played like competitively. And then I played Doom. It all came back to Doom. I played a brutal Doom mod where you played the original Dooms, but they were more like gory and bloody and what have you. And I played those. And I remember the first time I had like Like I had like 5 viewers watching me and I was like, oh, this is so sick. And then someone like donated $20 for the first time. I still remember him to this day. And I like freaked out. I freaked out. I was just like, dude, this is insane. But I was so happy to be playing games with people that were actually watching and they enjoyed the games and they enjoyed what they were seeing, you know? And, you know, I had a little camera and I was doing little like zoom ins at the time, you know, there was no fancy effects or anything like that. But that was it. Like I was really enjoying myself. And then I eventually got a capture card and then I started playing Halo 5. And then, yeah, I would play that off and on. And yeah, it wasn't until I'd say 2017, actually, the affiliate program came out. And that's when I really decided, you know, I kind of want to do this a little bit more seriously. I don't want to like take like, you know, stream and then go on vacation for a week or like go on vacation for 2 weeks or like just not stream for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The affiliate program came out and I went back home. I took a break from school and yeah, that was it. Like I was working at the time and just trying to establish an audience. And yeah, like I was really passionate about Halo still from a competitive standpoint. But people would start saying, you know, hey, you got like, you know, your personality is pretty good with this game. Like it complements the game really well. And I was like, oh, thank you. That means a lot. And yeah, like I just kept grinding. Halo, Fortnite. I'd been in plenty of video game limbos where I really wasn't sure what I wanted to play. Because I knew I wanted to play something that I enjoyed. I didn't want to force myself to play something that I knew I wasn't going to have fun with. Yeah. And eventually Halo 5 just wasn't fun anymore, unfortunately. And I hated that I was thinking that way because I've always loved Halo. Yeah. And I always wanted the best, you know, best for the game. But I figured I need to do other things. You know, I need to play other games. So I played Fortnite for like over a year and a half. HCS announces their grassroots program. And people were like, Kelly, you should do that. I'm like, dude, I'm not a Halo player anymore. Like I don't create Halo content, but I can come back, you know, give it a try. And at the time I was already doing scene switching, and effects and what have you. But I was doing that with other games and then it transferred to Halo and people got to see my style of streaming Halo, which I wasn't able to do during Halo 5 because I didn't have the technology at the time. I wasn't really like experimenting at the time. It was more so just gameplay. Yeah. More so just gameplay and just me just, you know, just raging, calling out, being sweaty, you know, what have you. So I come back to Halo and I've got all these effects and all these cameras and scenes and voices and effects and skits and what have you. And people are like, you know, mixed emotions about the whole thing. Most of it was positive. Most of it was positive. And yeah, like and I was able to go full time in April of 2019. And here we are today, still going strong. Yeah, well, that was what I was going to ask you. So you are a full-time streamer. I feel like I'm talking so many stories. So if I am just like if I just am going off on so many tangents, dude, like I told you, man, I'm a talker, bro. This is the point of the podcast, right? Like I said, I will tell my life story, bro. I love telling stories. It's a good place. This is a good place to put it, and I really love our little podcast playlist on the Divine Mind YouTube channel is it's building this wonderful little library of like streamers and their origin stories, you know, and you know, you're at a point where you're doing this full time now as a content creator, but when you're blowing up, I can't wait to bring people and be like, check this out. You know what I mean? Like you think there's a big difference between when you started, right, and where you are now. Yes. But when absolutely. But the difference, you know, the next few years are going to show is going to be also dramatic. So you keep telling as many stories as you like, and I'm sure that there are people that are. I'm very passionate about these sort of things. Yeah. No, I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for everybody's future, really. Yeah. That's Halo Infinite's going to be super special. That's what I wanted to ask for you, right? Is like you said, obviously you're doing this full time now, so you're not working outside of this. Do you not have another job IRL that you do as well? Not at the moment, no. Yeah. So it's all been streaming. I've been able to support myself through streaming and content creation. I absolutely love that, man. I'm so happy for you. That's a goal for so many people, right? And it's not easy to get there. You know, like it's something that you got to work really hard at.
if you were telling some youths, you know, some younger youths that wanted to do it full time, do you have any advice you could give anyone that you think would help them out?
Absolutely. I get this question a few times. I get this question a few times. People need to know like where to start, that sort of thing. I don't consider myself like the most credible source as far as advice. Like I don't even have a stream schedule, but I think like with my overall experience, I can offer like a few tips to people. And my best advice is to just understand what you're getting yourself into. The people that'll say streaming is the easiest thing in the world, like I don't think do it. I don't think do it. They'll see somebody play a video game in front of a live audience with an amazing fan base and a massive group of viewers and think, oh, you know, they got it made, you know, it was just fed to them, you know, it was just handed to them, you know. It wasn't. I can think like just the amount of sacrifices that particular person made to get to where they are today. The sacrifice of time, you know, relationships, mental health, you know, mental health, physical health, you know, that sort of thing. There's a lot of sacrifices that a lot of people make to get where they are today when it comes to streaming.
Definitely.
And my best piece of advice is to just really understand what you're getting yourself into. It is not a sprint. It is a marathon. If you can consistently create content that you are satisfied with, just be consistent about it. Keep your life balanced. Keep your life balanced. A lot of people they'll dive headfirst into content creation, and everything else will get put on the back burner. And this is coming from somebody who did exactly that. I will step up and say there was so much I put on the back burner because I wanted to do this. And thinking back on it now, I could have balanced things a whole lot better. I'm a very sporadic person. My mind just rushes, you know, a mile a minute. And, you know, there's just so many things I think about with this sort of thing that I really, a lot of stuff like outside of gaming and streaming, like I just forget about sometimes. And I, you know, it sucks sometimes, but balance is a good thing to focus on. Consistency with your content. Post things that you know you feel like you're satisfied with, and even if you aren't satisfied with them, if you feel like you can do better, that is a good thing. Complacency in the world of streaming and content creation is going to hold you back. There is nothing wrong with taking a step back and self-reflecting and figuring out what works for you, what doesn't. I've seen so many times people they explore different niches, if you will. If they play new games, they decide, oh, you know, I want to focus more on my YouTube. I want to focus more on my TikTok. I want to do completely different things with my TikTok. You know, I used to be gaming, you know, now I want to focus on like cooking and what have you, like just broad examples, but kind of, you know, puts the general idea home. Just consistent content that you feel like you're satisfied with, but you know you can work on and, you know, have a self-reflection and feel like, okay, I can make this better, or, you know, I can change things around. Another big thing is don't get discouraged. It is going to be very easy to get discouraged. A lot of the successful streamers that you see have been doing what they're doing for years. And it's not a matter of how quickly can I get to partner. It's not a matter of how quickly can I get to affiliate. It's doing stuff that you're proud of, building relationships along the way that you're proud of, just having fun. As cliche as it sounds, have fun. Do not stress out about your numbers. Hide all your viewer counts, hide your sub counts, view counts, whatever makes you comfortable in your environment. Because again, this is your space. This is your space to do with what you will. Don't worry about other people. You see somebody who gets partner like in a year, that's awesome, man. Congratulate them, you know, pump them up because they busted their ass to get to where they are. You know what I mean? Jealousy and spite is just it's gonna hurt. You focus on you, gas up your homies along the way. I'm sure they'll do the same thing for you. And just have fun, be consistent, experiment. Do not be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to ask questions too. I'm somewhat of a prideful person. It took me so long to just think like, you know, it's okay to ask people questions, ask people for help with like your audio, ask people for help with video production, you know, ask people like, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Like, can you give me any advice? Kind of like what I'm doing now for people out there that want to get into this sort of thing. It's okay if you need help with these sort of things, you know. If you want to figure it out on your own, that's fine. You know, maybe there's a little bit more self gratitude and, you know, self appreciation for, you know, you figuring out how to do something like this on your own, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, yeah, it's your journey. You make it how you want. Just make sure you're having fun and don't try your best not to stress out, because it's going to be a long road. Understand what you're getting yourself into. It's going to be a long road, but have fun on that road.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, sure.
And just be wary of the speed bumps and just go over them nice and slow, and then
or hit them full force, but be willing to recover.
Yeah, or hit them full force and just yeet yourself into space, you know.
Yeah.
whatever kind of energy you're rocking with. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want.
Dude, that's all really great advice. And there are it's a, you know, like, how old are you, by the way?
I am 29.
I'm 28, almost 29. And
29.
Yeah.
Don't let the lack of facial hair fool you. It's the beanie with the long hair with a baby face can sometimes be a little deceiving, but I am 29.
Yeah. 29. I was gonna say, it's people from our generation. I think it's like really different because, you know, like if I had have been, when I first started my YouTube channel, I think I was like 18 or 19. If I had been 18 or 19 now and wanting to start it, I would have been a lot more consistent. It would have been a completely different thing, right? Because there would have been so many people like, oh, you're starting a YouTube channel. I want to watch those videos. I want to see that. Everyone's so much more into it right now, right? When I first started that YouTube channel, I had a small group of friends that kind of watched the videos and wouldn't watch it unless they were in it, you know, and like no one really supported it. Everyone was kind of a little bit, that's a bit cringe. You're not going to be famous on YouTube and whatever. And it took 10 years until here we are. I'm giving it a full crack. You know what I mean? And I think that, you know, the young youth now, it is that thing where, like, you know, if someone who has a big follower base, or someone that is growing, or someone's content that takes off, that's almost like now like a social thing, a status thing, you know, especially for kids. It's like, you know, they're famous on TikTok, or this is what's going on. So like giving people that advice, that advice you just gave, is like, it's, if you can actually take that on board, it's setting people up for this reality, and not needing to have a reality check once they start it. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to take a while. You know what I mean? Like,
it is.
Yeah. And having, and like, you heard it here. So if you're listening, you know, you've been warned, but not necessarily warned. It should be a comforting thing to know you've got a bunch of time to play around with things and experiment.
You really do.
Stuff. Yeah. And
people think like, yeah, like days are going by faster. We're getting older, but I think you still have plenty of time to figure yourself out. You know what I mean? And what you were saying, like to piggyback off what you were saying with kids nowadays, I think they have a lot more resources to work with nowadays too.
Definitely.
If you go on YouTube and, you know, you see those videos that'll teach you about just the fundamentals of like networking, the fundamentals of, you know, setting up your stream and stuff like that, like resources like that 4 or 5 years ago, you know, very rarely did you see that. Like, even more so like back in 2010, where I didn't even know about, you know, I didn't even think I would want to do YouTube or anything like that.
Yeah.
And even now, I'm still here it is 2021, and I'm still very new to the world of YouTube. All my editing, I do live. I will be the first person to tell you, I'm too lazy for post. It's just in the moment, current editing, and you know, maybe that helps out a little bit, so I don't have to worry about doing too much editing after the content has been done. But no, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a lot more resources out there. Kids nowadays, I feel it's a good thing. It's a good thing that some of this stuff is more mainstream, if you will, because if you told me the amount of people who told me I was wasting my time 15 years ago playing a video game online trying to make some money, and now it's like the thing to do, you know.
Yeah.
Now everybody wants to be, you know, the next, you know, cracked like Warzone kid. They want to be the next Nick Merckx, Tim the Tatman, Ninja, whatever you.
For sure.
Oh man, 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Here's another concept that I don't think people realize as well. It's like one of the things that I'm dealing with from some friends and family is people are I don't know if it's the same thing for you at all, but in my generation or my age group, there are people that are jealous that I've taken the chance and I'm taking the risk to do it. And,
Yeah.
that is, it's really frustrating because I care about these people and I want them to be successful in what they're doing, but I can see that they actively don't want to support what I'm doing because they're annoyed that like I'm taking the opportunity, and then you know what I mean? And
Yes, I see what you're saying.
yeah, and so like when I one of the reasons why I love this podcast is I get to meet people like yourself. You know what I mean? And I've made a bunch of new friends from the podcast and just talking to people and being like, holy shit, I've just found someone that is like my people. You know what I mean? Creative, passionate, they like Halo, they're doing this, and they're the type of people that I would encourage everybody else that's thinking about wanting to get into content creation. You got to start your own little bubble of people like that, because you don't realize it initially, but like you can have people that say they'll be supportive, but if someone scroll past your video on Instagram and doesn't like it, they don't want you to be successive. It's that easy to double tap it, right? And it's the same thing with your YouTube video, hitting like or watching, just even adding some watch time to it. I've got a group chat, and I'm hoping that some of them watch this and hear me talking about them, right? Of friends, real life friends that had me at Halo group chat, and I'll post a video in there every now and again and just say, guys, if you can just open that in a tab, it'll help more people see it, right?
Yeah.
And they just don't do it. They just won't do it. They'll like the comment or something and move on to the next thing. And like it's not something that like ruins my friendship with them at all. But it is just something that I think people who are coming into it need to expect that to happen and not let it affect the relationship or also their enthusiasm to create content and put it out there. So I just think it's another thing that's worth mentioning is that, on one flip side, create a network of people who are similar to you and that you can, go, hey, look, I'm super proud of the content I'm putting out and I enjoy what you're doing as well, because that'll motivate you more so than just trying to share it with people that are already around you,
Absolutely. And that's the thing about friendships in general, really, is just like what I was talking about earlier about like sacrificing certain relationships and stuff like that. If you feel like your circle, they're just not, just not with you, and, I get people have their own, they have their own shit going on.
Yeah.
I get that, people have their own lives, they got their own stresses, we're only human. We're only human. We can only balance and bounce around so many things. And but people who are truly in your corner, they'll be passionate about your journey with you. You tell them, hey, I posted a video and I just got 100 views in like 20 minutes. They'll say that's amazing with and actually mean that. And who knows, maybe they'll have been one of those views. It's not it shouldn't be dying out to push people to be their best selves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see people just get jealous and spiteful, or they see something that's being done outside the norm. Come from somebody who I embody outside the norm. And I know there were plenty of times that, I wish, if be it a family member or a friend, where I could go to them and, they would just say, oh, keep going, Kelly, you're doing amazing.
Yeah.
Less like, oh, you're wasting your time kind of thing, because no one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear that. It makes you want to stop. It makes you want to think, oh, maybe I am wasting my time, like the imposter syndrome comes in, well, maybe I'm not good enough. You just really want people in your corner. And so you can't be afraid to kind of expand that bubble a little bit.
Yeah. Find
other people who truly share your passion. Because one thing, it's going to be good for your mental. You're going to have people who support you.
Yeah.
You can support them. Yeah. You can grow, not even putting numbers aside. Let's not worry about the numbers here. You're growing as people who are creating something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And if it makes you happy and you guys are happy together, like that is what's special.
Yeah.
That is what's special. And that is what you are trying to find with this whole thing, and 100%. With that growth and, numeric value and growth, algorithms and what have you, all that number stuff. It'll come, it'll happen.
Yeah.
But having your circle with you it's so important. It's so important.
Yeah. But okay, we went off on a great tangent there. I love every bit of that. But I want to ask you some more things, like specifically about you.
Sure, man.
And I'm not sure if this is something that you've talked about before or not, but I've been really curious because you always talk about like your grandparents, like you're living with your grandparents and that type of thing.
Yeah.
Do you still have a relationship with your parents, or I don't know what the
So my parents, I mean, I live with my grandparents. Yeah, there is no relationship with their, even before both my parents have passed away.
Okay.
So we'll get that out of the picture. Yeah, my dad passed away in 2007. And even prior to that, the relationship with him was very, very weak. Because I've been living with my grandparents off and on because I went to school. So I was living on my own for years. So off and on since 2004, 5. And then when I came back home 2017, 2018, I was working, trying to find the next step, but I was streaming at the exact same time. So I was just here. I was just here working, bringing in money while also streaming, rent here and there. But yeah, no, I've been with my grandparents pretty much since I'm 12 years old. They're essentially my parents.
Yeah.
My dad passed away in 2007. My mom recently passed away a couple of years ago. And they've just been my mom and dad pretty much since, I was about 12 years old. The relationship with us is very strong. Stronger. It was a little rocky at first with the whole streaming thing. I can honestly say I think my grandma's a little bit more enthusiastic about like my career path now than she was 2 years ago, which I mean, anybody from that generation, when you tell them, hey, I'm going to play video games for a living, that sort of thing, it's scary, they have a reason to be scared for you. They have a reason to like wonder, oh, what do you, is this going to work? Or are you just going to be, again, wasting your time? Are you going to be able to, make enough money to support yourself?
Yeah.
And, some of my money, even though I am saving a lot right now for a move to move, it goes back towards them, rent, stuff like that. But yeah, to answer your question, the general question, yes, my grandparents and we've had we've been together since 2004.
Yeah.
2005.
Wow.
So
yeah. Well, I'm glad that I asked that because I had absolutely no idea. I'm sad. I'm sorry to hear about both your parents passing away.
Oh no, it's good. It's all good, man.
Yeah. It sounds like
I have no problem.
It sounds like though you're very lucky to have such amazing grandparents, that
absolutely
have supported you, and that I know for a matter of fact that if I went to tell any of my grandparents, I only have one grandmother left, but if I tried to explain to her streaming or YouTube or any of this,
oh yeah,
she would try to be enthusiastic about it, I'm sure, but I think in the end would be like, you need to go get a job. Like
absolutely.
That's just that generation. It's like, get a job, like even my dad trying to explain it. My dad had worked at the same business for 27 years, right? In the same job.
Wow.
In the same job for 27 years. It was a good job, but he raised a family on it and paid off a mortgage by himself pretty much and everything like that, right? So like great career for him to have. But there's not, like, if I tried to think about going to the same job for 27 years of my life, man, like it's just not going to happen, right?
You better hope you're having fun. You better hope you're really enjoying it.
Yep.
Or the money's really good.
Well, even then, I think for me, there's no way I'd do the same thing for 27 years. I think I've got like maybe a 5-year limit before, like even with Divine Mind, right? Like I love Divine Mind. It's going to be something I do for the rest of my life, but I've got 5 years of like doing things that, that I think are working. And if it's not, I'm going to completely flip it up and do something else, like it's just,
that's fine. Like that. That's scary. That could be scary, because again, like you're settled, but then you've realized you want to do something different, and it's all about taking that leap. It's it could be pretty risky, but I mean, if you feel like you're not satisfied with
everything,
the path that you're on, or you want more, there's nothing wrong with wanting more, especially if it means like you're just fulfilling your passions.
Yeah, I've had enough experience now in life to know that like the best things come after some kind of hardship, right? Like, when I moved here to Canada, that was scary. I had no idea it was going to happen. But now that I've moved here and I took that kind of risk, I've just had the most wonderful experiences, one after each other. It's led me to where I am right now. You know, like when I was a swimmer, I used to train 4 hours a day. I hated it. Like,
Oh,
it
you
was hard.
swam?
Yeah, I was a swimmer.
I used to dive.
Oh, really?
So,
Like
aquatic boys, let's go.
yeah, that's awesome.
Love it. I did a little swimming in summer too.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
swimmer body is very non-existent at the moment, like it used to be. My V shape has kind of it's kind of narrowed out
Better for
to a straight
diving.
line, but yeah, no, I did dive. I did some summer diving. I almost did like some intramural college diving, but then
Wow.
yeah, unfortunately it just kind of fell through. I wasn't able to do it. So
Is there any
I low
footage
key
of anything like
do
this?
kind of miss it, but yeah, diving was super fun. But
Is
yeah,
there any footage
a
of
little
diving?
a little tangent.
Yeah.
I'm
Is
sorry,
there any
what?
footage?
Say again?
Is there any footage of you diving? I want to find it.
Is there footage of me? Oh man, no, I don't think so. I probably have a couple old CDs from like CDs with photos on them from like 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
I think I stopped when I was 18. So it's been well over 10 years. Or actually,
Yeah.
my birthday falls on June, which actually meets a cutoff where I was actually able to dive while I was 19, like technically as an 18-year-old. So
Yeah.
I got one extra year of my diving career,
Yeah.
if you will. But no, yeah, I have some photos somewhere, some Speedo photos, you know, I'm sure are flying around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That should be your next filter.
Yeah.
Just a picture.
I still have a Speedo. I have a red, white, and blue Speedo. In fact, when I announced I was going full-time streaming, I took a picture in it and put it on Twitter.
Yeah, that's
just
awesome.
like, that's America's ass. I was like,
yeah, that's so good.
No, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah. Well, so going forward, we've just got some information about there being this LAN in North Carolina. Are you going to be going to that?
Unfortunately, I probably won't be. Money wise, it's just not smart at the moment. Again, I was saying earlier, all of my money, most of my money is being put towards a big move with me and my girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Hopefully trying to move out west. She's still in school at the moment. So I've just been, you know, streaming, grinding, you know, trying to earn as much as possible. Even though like I don't really push like, you know, monetary value. I don't really push money forward as far as like streaming my content. I feel like it's always been like just naturally, if it happens, it happens. And, you know, I'm thankful for it all. But to answer your question, I've been just smart about managing my finances at the moment. Most, if not all, my money is going towards that. Mm-hmm. Money here and there going towards the grants, you know, bills, phone, loans, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah, most, if not all. So that is going to fall on, well, first of all, it's going to be a week before Christmas. So if I move, then that's going to be another flight that I'm going to have to pay for to go see my family. Yeah. And then go to Raleigh. So just right now, it's just not smart. I mean, if streams do well within the next like 2 months or so, you know, I'll be able to somehow go, but yeah, I'm just going to play it smart. Just save all my money. Just really focus on the move. Cause that's really the main thing right now that I know I need to put my energy towards is, you know, just making sure I'm safe, secure, my girlfriend safe, secure. I can help take care of things, so there's no real stress once we're making this big transition. Yeah, 100%, man. You know I mean? And it's good to be smart with your money. So, good to be like. I'm gonna miss everybody, man. I love my Halo homies, dude, and it sucks that we haven't seen each other in like over 2 years. I wasn't able to go to the Reach event, which was the DreamHack Denver event. Yeah. The one that the Reach event that Spartan won. I couldn't go to that one. The last one I went to was DreamHack Atlanta 2019. Yeah. That was in November. And then, COVID hit and everything like that. So that was the last time I saw everybody, you know? Yeah. Saw the homies. And there's so many people that I met since that I would love to see and hang for the first time, you know? Because we've all grown so much. Oh, yeah. We've all grown so much in 2 years. Yeah, it's gonna suck, but like I'll more than likely be at the next one for sure. Well, hopefully I'm hanging out for that because I can't wait to meet in person as well. You're going? Yeah, I'm gonna be there. Oh, awesome! Yeah, I hope you all have fun, man. Hopefully, hopefully somehow, some way, by a magical force, I can make it because I'd love to socially distance myself with the homies, you know,
with everybody. Yeah.
give them a hug from 6 feet away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I totally get it.
Nah, I miss everybody. They're all great people, man.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm looking forward to going, and hopefully, like you said, some magic way can come up and you can get there. Because
absolutely, man. Yeah. I'd love to meet everybody. I just love the crowd thing, you know.
Community,
I just really love seeing homies like after not seeing them for a really long time.
Yeah.
The big embrace, if you will. And then when, you know, we just passionately game.
Yeah.
For the next 3 days, you know.
Yeah.
Passionately game and get cracked, you know what I'm saying? Here comes some crack gamers, bro.
Yeah, for sure. So I try to keep it around about an hour. I think we're about 20 minutes over that, which is fantastic.
We've been talking for an hour. Woo!
Yeah, like this call has been going for an hour and 45 minutes. So
dude,
it flies by when you get me
going. Right? You get me going. You gotta put a hold on me.
No, absolutely not. I've loved it. There are some questions.
Me too, man. This was awesome.
There's some questions that I like to ask to kind of finish things up. And
sure.
The first one is, you know, if you look forward 5 years from now, what's the like dream reality look like for you? Obviously, we're thinking, you know, you're going to move out. You're looking to go, did you say west, east?
Yes.
Yeah, west. So that's something that'll probably happen, you know, sooner than 5 years. But in 5 years' time, You're looking to want to have your own house. You're looking to be even more cracked as a gamer with your kids. What's the like goals for 5 years? Dream reality, right?
My dream reality. Oh man. I've never really been one for a 5-year plan. Again, I've always been someone who just goes day to day. I got to thank my girlfriend for like, you know, kind of bringing me back to like being a scheduled kind of person.
Less of a plan. And if you could just think
I get what you're asking. 5 years from now, things I want to continue doing and things I want to new things that I want to do. I just want to keep showing people, I guess, that it's okay to be, you know, it's okay to be different a little bit, you know, with this whole content creation thing. There are risks and experiments and self-reflecting that I've done that I'm very happy with. And I can look at myself in the mirror and just be like, you know, what you're doing, it's hard. It's hard. And, you know, I have a little bit of imposter syndrome. I'm always going to think like, you know, I'm not shit, you know, that what I'm doing, you know, maybe people don't really like it. But the reassurance from my community and the reassurance from you know, video game players and, you know, passionate video editors and live editors and producers and what have you, just really it's humbling, you know, and I'm honored that there's so many people that I look up to that really dig what I got going on over in my little space. And I just want to keep showing people that, you know, that's a cool thing to do. It's a cool thing to do. It might be different, but it's cool. If it means, you know, if it makes you want to explore yourself a little bit more, if it makes you want to explore different avenues, if it makes you want to kind of, you know, feel yourself out as a person, as a creator, as a streamer, gamer, whatever it may be. I'm happy to kind of, I guess I'm happy to inspire, you know. I don't know what people see in me as far as like an inspiration is concerned, but I'm glad that like some of my quirky stuff makes it to people and makes people want to, you know, try their own madness, if you will. So yeah, as far as content creation is concerned, I definitely want to keep expanding on that. Obviously keep experimenting with effects, new softwares, really level up my production. Again, it's just one big, you know, it's a battle between me and technology. How can I make my story, you know, that much, I guess, cooler and more interactive, if you will, you know, really bring more people to think like, oh, Kelly, you've been doing new stuff. Like, this is really rad, you know, and, you know, keep experimenting and expanding and growing both for myself and as a content creator, you know, keep learning more about myself, keep learning more about my medium, keep learning more about my environment. As far as like, you know, I hope to be well established, you know, still doing what I love. You know, family, I mean, you know, we'll take it a step at a time, you know, if that ends up, you know, becoming a desire, you know, between me and my girlfriend, like Yeah, I mean, I'm down. Like, I'm down to grow. I want us to be secure. Definitely, big things I want to focus on is like her happiness, my happiness, and our sense of security. You know, just really because once we're going to be out on our own, you know, I want us to be as worry free as possible. So I know it's going to be stressful, but as long as I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm surrounded by people that I really enjoy. I really enjoy their company.
Mhm.
And, you know, they're pushing me to be my best self. I'm pushing them to be their best selves. The next 5 years are going to be pretty cool.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. And I love that. The second question that I ask is
for
more like
sure.
health and fitness orientated. So,
Oh boy.
yeah, we talked about there used to be a diver, but is health and fitness or training or like thinking about your
Oh,
diet?
I can honestly say with no shame, my health needs work. I've actually gotten back into skating.
Cool.
I used to skateboard. For some reason, this whole gaming thing, this whole content creation thing, like my enthusiasm about like just going and skating and like working out again, because I don't have a gym membership anymore. I used to. Where I worked, we got complimentary like gym memberships if we were employees. And pretty much ever since I stopped with that job, you know, I wasn't able to use the gym anymore. And like, so my fitness has kind of been put on the back burner. That being said, I am getting a little bit better about trying to find that balance. And more so now, because especially with the pandemic and everything, and I, you know, even more isolation that I put myself in and not going out and, you know, being physical, I was just like, man, like I gotta get back out there and like balance myself and like work out and stuff like that. You know, focus on my nutrition and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely going to be something that I'm going to have to work on for sure. And like anybody out there, I'm open to any health advice, any nutritional advice or anything. I have a hard gainer body type. I will be skinny, I think, for the rest of my life, thanks to my dad. So if you guys have any tips and tricks on how to keep the protein rolling, how to keep the gains coming, and turn me into give me my cardio back, I am all about that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm all about that.
What you are is called an ectomorph. That's like your body style, right?
Yeah, I hear like hard gainer. It's like no matter how much you work out or no matter how much you eat, if protein is not like constantly going through your system, you're just gonna stay skinny.
Yeah. I can help you with that. I've got a lot that I'm trying to work on.
Hell yeah.
Health and fitness is like a really big thing for us. What we want to do at Divine Mind, we think that like, you know, helping gamers become more professional is really important, and a big aspect of that is, I think, having a healthy, fit lifestyle, because that gives you more confidence. Absolutely. It builds on everything, right? And so it just
makes you feel better in general.
Yeah. So we're
healthy mind, healthy body. You know, yeah. I could probably, if I had a healthy mind, dude. Oh my God, how many effects could I come up with, dude? I gotta start working out now, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a jacked gamer with new production value.
I think, you know, well, the big thing for me is like not even about being like jacked or not even being like the fittest. I think it's just about like the health benefits of it, and the fact that there are like, you know, there's an audience of people watching us do what we do, and I think that we have an obligation to that generation to kind of be like, you know, it's difficult, right? Like it is difficult as a gamer. And as someone who spends a lot of time working online and on the computer, it's hard to get yourself out and do something. But it's about building the habits and the routine around it so that you feel the benefit of it, and then you go, okay, there's a reward at the end of it, you know, and that reward is beneficial, and I get it immediately, and then also I feel more confident, I look better, you know, and everything else kind of ties into. I notice that I game better, I concentrate better, I put out more content, whatever it is, and those things kind of come with it as well. And
I should use that. Like, I should use that as motivation, that I can concentrate better.
Yeah,
like sure. It's just all about taking that initiation, though, for sure. Like, and I feel like that's the part where I struggle the most.
4 weeks takes 4 weeks of like, if you tell yourself, I'm going to start doing this, right? And you go, okay, realistically, you know, I'll give Anthony a bit of a shout out here. After our podcast, we talked about it a little bit, and he said, okay, I'm just going to start training twice a week. It's like, it's fucking perfect, man. It's 2 times more than what you're doing right now. And he's got a PT. and he's going to go and see them at the gym just to help him stay, like he's got someone else he has to be accountable to by going and seeing a PT. And I said, that's perfect, because all you need to do is get that started, right? If you do that for 4 weeks, going to the gym twice a week will be a part of your routine, and it'll be a habit that you've forced into yourself, right? The only other thing you have to add to close that loop is a reward. There's a book called The Power of Habit, and it really helps. It talks about habit loops. And so big parts of the loops are, okay, the overall is the habit. What is the action that we're trying to get done? Like what is the outcome that we're looking for, right? And let's say that that's training religiously. Then we need to have okay, what's the action that we have to do? And the action that we have to do is go to the gym, skateboard more, for example, for you, change my health, whatever, just the one action that you're looking for. And then there has to be the immediate reward that we get for it, right? And so if you can create this, and if you can close the loop, which is giving yourself the reward, this is the outcome, this is what I'm looking for, and this is the reward, and then do it for 4 weeks, you set a psychology in your brain to just continue doing this habit loop. I'll go to the gym, I do this, and then I get X, do this. And like a really good example of that is like how marketing companies have used that. So with brushing your teeth, right? You don't need it to feel minty fresh at the end, but toothpaste companies recognize that it closes the habit loop. They might not talk about it as a habit loop, but it closes it, right? I'm going to bed, I need to clean my teeth. I'll feel fresh and clean and minty fresh after it, right? So they closed the habit loop, and it helped a lot of people to get into the routine to buy more toothpaste because they were using it more because they're brushing.
Very interesting,
right? So
that's
like
very interesting. Do you have a psychological background?
I don't. I
was about to say, that seems like something that I would have learned in like my basic side. Like that's really interesting. Cool. And so you're so right. It's one big mental thing. You know? Yeah. It's just you assuring yourself that there is something at the end of the road. Yep. You know, if I put in the work, you know what I mean? And
eventually
it's just getting past that first step. It's getting past the work.
Yeah, 100%. But it's even the same with content creation, right? Like I saw that you're trying to get more regular with your YouTube. Yeah.
Yes.
And so like you can do the exact same thing with your YouTube content, right? Is like, okay, what do I want? I want to give more content to my community. Maybe that's like what you're saying to do. You know, realistically, overall, we want more subscribers, we want more views, we want it to become another avenue for potential income, right? That's the everything that's going on behind it. But the way that we're looking at it is I want to provide more content to my community for them to enjoy, right? The process is having to create, upload, have a thumbnail, put in the best SEO possible, and put it out there for people to actually watch.
Right.
This is the thing that most people miss, right? If you can ingrain in yourself, the reward is seeing one view, seeing one like, seeing a comment, seeing whatever, then that's going to be a really easy loop to have. But realistically, it's really hard to be able to do that. So like for me recently is I can't play the Xbox. This is my reward, right? So I want to create more content. I want to do the editing and everything and improve at it so that I can play the Xbox. Can't play the Xbox if I don't do those things. And so that's one of the things that I've used just to help me with creating more content is if I actually want to sit down and play Halo, which is at the end of the day why I'm doing all of this, I have to do it all before I can do that. Right. So that's just a really little, that's like a little tip. And also have in your mind that you only have to do that for 4 weeks, right? It's only hard for 4 weeks. And then after that, the reward becomes a little bit more superfluous because you start seeing results from it, right? Like if it's the health and fitness thing, you start looking in the mirror and going, holy shit, I can notice a difference, right? If it's the subscriber, YouTube channel thing, you start noticing that you're actually getting more views or you're getting more subs. And so the reward that you put here starts to become the result that you're seeing from it and less about the actual reward that you had there. So, it's a good thing to think about. But again, huge tangent.
Oh, I'm sure we've done plenty of those, but that's fine.
Yeah. But hopefully that helps anyone that's watching.
That does. Yeah.
Like psychologically trying to break it down. Because a lot of people have always asked me, like, how do I constantly, even from when I moved over here and whatever, how do I always stay good with my working out? And it's not an issue for me because it's always been a habit for me. Like when I was swimming, right? It was 4 hours a day, 7 days a week. For like 5 years. You don't lose that habit.
Morning practices, cold water. Yeah. Like, oh God.
And you don't lose that. So like you with your diving, you know, you're someone that if you did it for 4 weeks, you'd probably find it really easy to maintain afterwards. You just have to get past that initial lethargy and apathy that your body naturally puts up as a self-defense, because it wants to, your body wants to stay comfortable. You know, it wants to be, I like this.
I definitely feel like if I tried to do like a double somersault right now, I'd probably like die immediately after. But
yeah, heart rate
I'd go up and just do dive after dive after dive after dive, and then I'd like stand there, and then the moment I feel my heart race, I'm like, I'm gonna pass out, huh? Like,
this is what dying actually feels like.
this is what dying actually is, dude. I am going to have an existential crisis right now with how out of shape I am right now.
Yeah.
No, but no, I completely agree with what you're saying. As long as you understand that there is going to be something at the end of the road, you know.
Yeah.
And set it for yourself, you know. As simple as what you were saying with, oh, I get to play video games if I, you know, put out this video. If I do this edit right now, you know, it goes all the way back to like when we were in high school, you know. It's like, hey, you know, do your homework and then you can play video games after. You
exactly
know what I mean?
it. Exactly it. Right.
Like, we don't want to do that first thing right away, but once we finish it, and then we're just like, oh, I can game now.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's also
just
like,
all about crossing that first hump.
Yeah, it's also a week is a good way to look at it. Like days and time and everything is like I know this is getting a little bit too deep for a lot of people, but like that is a week is just, it's a construct that we created, right? And so a lot of people think of Monday to Friday as the grind, and then Saturday and Sunday is the reward, right? And so like that, the Saturday and Sunday is the habit, is the reward at the end of the loop for a lot of people, right? What do I have to do? Go to work. Why am I going to work? To earn money. Why am I trying to earn money? To spend it on the weekend. You know, like that's the
exactly.
So you can apply it to a lot of things that make it realistic, but it's about like doing the self-parenting and the self-love. Like one of the things that I always tell myself, like when I'm struggling with keeping myself accountable to things, is like, well, if you really love yourself, you're going to do it, because you know, like in the end, are you going to be sad if 6 months from now you haven't hit that goal that you were trying to do? Yeah, I fucking definitely am. So I'm gonna do it, right? And it's just about like having that conversation, like, and not being afraid to kind of talk about it like that. It's like, well, do you actually care about you? Like this is your goal, you know. It's not Maddie's goal, it's not anyone else's goal, it's yours. So you know, you're in charge of hitting that goal. What action can you take that improves you to get there? So
and then it's, you know, and then it's just a little bit, you know, there's always that mental battle about like, it's kind of like you against yourself, really. It's like, can I truly do this, or like, is it going to be worth it? That sort of thing. Definitely. There's plenty of stuff that's going to be like fighting against your actual motivation to do it, you know, like the anxiety or like it's like, do I really want to do this sort of thing?
100%.
And it might take time, you know, but you can power yourself through anything that's telling you and holding you back and saying that you can't do, you know, that you can't do what it is that you want.
All right. I'm cutting us off. We just hit this call. It's hit 2 hours.
Let's go, dude.
It's been an absolute blast, but you know,
dude, it was awesome.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to kind of get out there that you think people should know about you?
Not really anything that people should know about me. I'm just super looking forward to the future, man, be it with video games, be it with, you know, my own personal journey. I'm extremely thankful for the people that have come across my my thing, if you will. And I wouldn't be who I am, you know, without the love and support. So here's to a bright future with Infinite. Here's to a bright future with gaming in general. Yeah, man, if you guys want to check me out, I my stream schedule is a little bit sporadic, but yeah, twitch.tv/KMaddify. I'm sure there'll be some links somewhere. I'm trying to be a little bit more active on YouTube, TikTok, youtube.com/KMadd, TikTok.com/@KMaddify. You have to put the @ in front of there.
All the links are in the description, and absolutely you should check KMaddify out.
It'll just be it'll be a journey. It'll be a journey between me and myself, but I'm excited for it.
Come along.
I'm excited for everything that's to come. I'm excited to challenge myself, and I'm excited to keep showing people that it's okay to get outside the box a little bit.
Sure. Before we even talked, I went and made sure I was following you and everything. So if you check, you've got one more follower on every single platform.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You know what? Let me go ahead and do that to the YouTube after the call.
But for everybody that's watched the podcast, thank you so much. If you made it this far into the video, then you can leave a comment down below saying KMaddify is spicy. I want that as a comment. So if you've somehow made it this far, about an hour and, I don't know, 40 minutes into the podcast, your viewership is super appreciated. I hope you found some value in the conversation that we had. Oh, actually, I almost forgot one last question that I ask, which is usually, I mean, I reached out to you just individually, but usually I ask people to kind of tag someone in as a guest that they think that would add value as well. Is there someone in the esports community, streaming community that you think would add some value, be good for us to have on?
Who have you gone through that I?
If you say, I'll let you know. But we've done about, I think, 34 episodes now.
Have you done Nade God yet?
Josiah is this week. I've already got him booked in.
You already got him booked?
Yeah.
If you got Josiah booked, then if you want someone who's more on the creative side that I always felt like deserves so much more success than he already has gotten, Pixel Pete.
Pixel Pete, okay.
Pixel Pete.
Yeah.
He's one of the most creative minds. He's an effect user as well.
Yeah.
He is a entity on the internet. He's been grinding a lot of Apex. I met him at TwitchCon 2019. He's just a really chill. He's just a great dude. He's just a great dude. Me, Josiah, and Pete, and then one other person. We have a little like creative like group chat, where we talk about effects and we talk about that sort of thing. He's one of them, and he's we go way back. We used to go head to head in Halo 5 FFAs all the time.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. He's really creative, and I definitely think his story and his spotlight should be put out there for sure.
Say no more. Well, I'll let you, if you get a chance, just DM him and let him know that Divine Mind's going to send him a message, and then I'll get in contact with him.
Absolutely.
As well.
Yeah, man.
On the podcast, because he's not the first time. That's not the first time that I've had someone bring him up to me. I've actually had someone mention that we should try and get him to be a content creator for Divine Mind as well. I've actually had a few people say that, so very, very interesting, and I'm looking forward to chatting with him. But as I was saying, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the podcast. If you want to check out KMaddify, all the links will be in the description. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time as well. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation, and we're gonna have to do it again.
Absolutely.
Soon. So
thank you so much for having me, man. It was awesome. I'm glad we got to cover so much. Like I said, I'm a big talker, so it was awesome to be able to just go back and forth. And yeah man, it was really fun. Thank you so much, and thank you to everybody for watching, and thank you for the support.
Yeah, 100%. All right, thank you so much, guys. I'll see you on the next episode of the podcast.